I brought all my stuff. I'm like, sir, the doctor literally said you can't for like another 3 weeks right now. Really?
Until they read his MRI.
Yeah, and that's not scheduled for another 3 weeks. What?
That's a Mr. Huff question.
You guys have study halls?
Ask him at lunch.
Did you know believe that if we put 5, you couldn't fail last year? Yeah, it's just you only had 6 classes and you failed one.
I can't hear a word you say.
Yeah, but other than that, you had to put 5.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, I brought that up. Six classes and that's what everybody.
Is your
I understand soccer, but I just get spoken.
That's what everybody.
It's because of
That's fine. Oh, okay. 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 As long as there's you, does that make sense? So they would have to transfer your party. Does that make sense? Which I don't understand how people before because they actually
I'll figure it out. I always
I never understood that concept. Yeah. Your job. Okay. I don't know. That's a lot.
Mine's called. Really? Wait, is it actually? Oh, yeah, just going.
We'll tell you what.
I'm sure you guys always think that. Can I just
Yeah, I don't know if I do.
My senior year.
All right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
How does it feel?
All right. Okay. I want you guys to look up here. This doesn't sound like. Oh, I didn't find you too sweet. You have a friend. Okay. All right. Okay, put your phones away, please. All right, I want to get your take on this. I saw this and I thought of something, but I'm not gonna push Chroma, please. Okay. Now, there is a wrongful death suit being put out there. What happened was you guys are all familiar with Ballpark Village, right? There was a young person down drinking at Ballpark Village. To excess, the bartenders kept allowing them to drink and okay, where most bars close, at midnight here in the county, you basically have to like 2 o'clock in the morning down to 10. Hence why, hello. Hence why people used to go downtown and drink all the time, because the bars are longer. Actually, then they used to work their way over to Illinois because they don't close till like 4. They're up to 6 now? Okay. Which is why even close them? Well, actually, there are a few, like, you go to, there are some places you go to Illinois, that are basically 24/7.
Mr. Hill, that's basically like, you could just go all day and then wait for a couple hours till it opens again. Like
No,
3 hours.
no, there is one place, the place we always used to go after everything closed down was over to Pops. Pops literally is open 24 hours. You can get breakfast at Pops. All right, now, probably get a disease just sitting in the chairs too, but that's a whole other thing. In hindsight, probably not one of my better moves. But anyway, here's what I want you guys to think about. With the this kid comes out, he gets on the highway, and he kills 2 people. One of which is the parents of one are the ones suing the bar in a wrongful death suit. I want you to think about that. Okay, so let's just go. You're the bar, right? Okay, Emmy is trashed. You guys keep letting her get more trashed. Don't cut her off. She gets in a car. She drives down the highway. She killed Landon. Now, Landon's parents are suing you. Now, yes.
Did I die in the car?
Yes, you're dead.
Oh, okay, never mind. Because I was like, why are they not?
You're in heaven. Go away from here. Okay.
Bye, guys.
All right. Okay. You can give him a little angel. Flap, flap, flap. Okay. All right. Now,
So,
first thing I want to ask you is, okay. Oh, we didn't have a DUI person. We did a DUI person. No, I'm sorry. Sorry, I totally screwed that up.
I drove.
No, he's dead. You're okay. You're the one that got drunk. He's dead. I'm sorry.
And that's the bar.
Right. So now you're the parent suing her for the death of your son. Now,
But I'm dead.
okay, does everybody got that? I screwed it up totally.
Sir, I'm dead.
No, I screwed up. He's dead.
Oh.
Okay. You're the one who got trashed. You drove and you killed him.
But I'm still okay.
I'm
You're
suing him since he's the boss.
You're suing, yeah. Okay.
Why are you
Basically,
suing
okay.
me?
Landon's dad knows that you're a 21-something-ish person who has no money.
Ah.
I spent it all on Chick-fil-A.
Okay. Okay. So. Okay. Anyway,
Okay, that wasn't just.
No.
what's that?
Or like you know.
Oh, it's just
Is it the
okay.
ventilation?
When the temperature goes this weekend, condensation gets there. It's like a musty, moldy smell.
It smells like it.
It smells like that everywhere, especially on the side that the sun comes in first because now it's coming up out of the light. And we have that.
Oh, I thought you were pointing at the
Yeah, we have this smell.
Actually,
Okay, so I want you to stop and think about that. And why do you say, am I bringing this up? Because do you think the same thing happens with firearms?
no.
Have people ever sued firearms?
Oh,
Manufacturers?
Probably.
Okay, so now, by the way, there is precedent. You don't know what precedent is. This word is. It means okay, it's happened in the court, so they allow this to happen. So bar owners have been sued before. Now, and basically what he's saying is, you knew she was trashed.
Yeah.
You should have cut her off, made her, like, put her in an Uber or something, get her home. Therefore, my son would have come home alive. Now,
That's my case.
so what are your thoughts on this one right here? Yeah.
With that, the bar's responsibility is to serve drinks. I don't think it's the bar's responsibility to be like, not necessarily like, oh, you gotta get home safe, but more so like, I think it is their responsibility to like judge like if they're trashed or not, but like, I don't believe it's the bar's responsibility to make sure they get home.
They can cut you.
Hey, great walk, that's their responsibility, but getting, I don't think, getting them a Uber, I don't think that's their responsibility.
Well, you put it on their credit card.
The bar,
Okay, here's the beauty of it. Most bars, when you go in, they have your credit card number, and basically, they'll basically, with that credit card, they can basically order you an Uber.
right, but isn't that credit card?
What?
You didn't order.
What?
Isn't that credit card from?
No.
Since you
No.
didn't order.
No.
Okay.
Because of the fact that the bar has seen that you are like not able to drive whatsoever, they have the rights. to
Bar-
use
bar-
that
okay.
to get you a ride.
Let me flip the script. Just so you know, if it was obvious she was way beyond capacity, she's incoherent, and she wanders out and is able to find her car keys. Basically, if she dies, knowing that they probably should have cut you off, bars have been sued for that, for letting people go to excess. Bars have been sued for people who died of alcohol. Does that make
It's
sense?
like alcohol, but you're the one that's an but
Oh, okay, well, let me put it this way. This might make you understand. Okay, let's say you have a sidewalk out front of your house. It's on your property, right? You don't shovel that off, put salt down, somebody comes up your sidewalk, and they slip and bust their butt. Can they sue you? Your property, right? Okay, while they're on your property, you have certain responsibilities. Does that make sense? What the government says, okay, if you don't want that to happen on your property, don't do that. Does that make sense? Okay.
Do you feel like you've been
Oh, the general.
you've driven like me before. You've seen like my
Yeah.
the yard. So that's the driveway. It's just like super long. Does that also count?
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
someone were
Okay.
if someone were walking on my driveway, why are you
Listen.
walking on the driveway?
Okay, Missouri used to have. Missouri was one of the first to get this. It used to be somebody broke into your property and went swimming without your permission and drowned. You were financially responsible for it. But Missouri changed that law, saying that you have to be there legally. Otherwise, I mean, there were people like criminals. If you ever seen this great movie, Liar Liar, it's a Jim Carrey, he's a lawyer, where he says, a guy fell through the sky and landed on a butcher's block. He got a knife stuck in his foot, and he was suing the people whose house he was breaking into. You can't do that in Missouri. Basically, if you're somewhere illegally, you don't have the right to sue.
Yeah, because that's just incriminating yourself.
Well-
I was breaking in, but I fell on something.
I understand that, but it's a fine line on the property rights where things fall. Does that make sense? Yeah.
How much was that?
Hang on, what is that? My brain doesn't function on this.
But then with that, if you're there illegally, isn't driving while intoxicated illegal? So isn't that your responsibility?
Okay, but you also,
But when you give your
in the law, there's a, okay, now here's a tricky catch-22. The law recognizes an incapacitated state.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay. Ladarius and then I saw, who else's hand was up?
Mine's been up for a while.
Okay, then you're next.
I
You're next, buddy.
was gonna say that. I was gonna say, I think that the bar should be responsible, especially the application should have cut her off. Because I work at the team, like, if someone walks in there, telling you, like, we aren't supposed to, like, give them drinks because they go home, if they drive and freaking die. Like, that's on us. But, like, you want us to be just like, even when I was getting like, don't serve alcohol, because there's one of them that was like totally drunk, and like he had a freaking being about alcohol, he just kept drinking, and he wanted more and more and more to the service. And then he just passed out in the middle of the so,
Well, I do have, because I know this is before the law changed. The owner of the bar literally had us put people who got tanked too much, we put them in a cab. And we probably did illegal stuff because basically we'd pull out their wallet, which I guess was an invasion of the privacy, got their ID and said, here, take them here, and then, And I guess we opened ourselves up to liability because God knows what if the cabbie wasn't a good person and like robbed him just like on the side of the road. But they did have a service when I first started where somebody would put them in a van and drive them around, but we got tired of cleaning up the puke in the van, so we stopped doing that. All right, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so like right now, like when you go into a restaurant, your servers, the cooks, like they're responsible for serving you food. Like if it's undercooked, that's something that like.
If you get food poisoning, yeah.
Right. So why is it when you go to the bar you don't feel like the bartenders are responsible for not letting you drive, or not letting you go over the limit of what?
See, and I think that is, we're kind of in an era where nobody wants to take responsibility for anything. Does that make sense? And I know, I mean, I wasn't a bartender. I also bar back, so I did bartend. Not that I got paid that much, but and there were times I'm just like, I'm not serving.
Right, because if you're coming in intoxicated and you have car keys looking like you're gonna drive, like at most parts they'll cut you on pay, you can't drive, like how are you getting home? Like there's steps in place so people don't drunk drive. There's bars.
We did that with a couple of clients that we had. We would actually take the keys and say, okay, you're an idiot. You want to drink here? Here, give me your car keys. And this one guy kind of outthought us there. He brought 2 sets of keys. So we had to make him empty his pockets before we'd serve him. Not now. Okay. Now, yeah, what? No. Because you're probably going to do it next time. So, yes, sorry. Okay, hang on. I can't hear you. What? Well, Max is in the next year. You don't hear or don't listen? Or yes? Okay. Okay. It's supposed to be like? Yeah. Okay. That when somebody has exceeded their capacity, right. Now, when you work for Grant's Farm, you're basically working for InBev, which is the biggest brewer in the world. They're a little bit more worried about bad publicity than Joe Blow's bar down on. You know what I'm saying? I think one of the reasons why. Does anybody know who owns Ballpark Village?
no.
The St. Louis Cardinals. Is that a money with a lot of organization with a lot of money? Yeah. Now, and I trust me, I can see both sides of this because I have a cousin whose husband and daughter were killed by a drunk driver. And I saw, hey, you ever want to see the most depressing thing in your life? Go see a woman who has lost her 3-year-old daughter, her husband, who is in a wheelchair, draped over the casket of her infant child. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I don't drink a great deal.
Was she in the car as well?
Yes, she was her. It took her 3 years to be able to walk right again. Okay. Now, this is the setup. So let's switch it. Let's flip the script. Should, because there are states who are allowing it There are states that are not allowing it. Should a state allow, okay, let's just change the situation. You are now a gun salesman. He is working at a gun show. Now, do all of you know about the gun show?
My dad used to go to those.
What's the difference between going to a gun store and a gun show? Okay, Landon.
Gun show, guns are all over the table. And then if you're at a gun store, they're all in a case.
Well, that's true. I'm talking about in order to purchase that.
You just
How do
need
you
to
walk into that?
Do they do background checks and gun checks? Do they do all the things that they're supposed to do? It's called, for those of you who don't know, this is called the gun show loophole. So people take back switch your phone. Good start. It'll be much easier for Emmy to walk out of there. This is kind of funny, that's Emmy. With a gun.
I'm the last person in this room. You probably see holding a gun to a child.
I know. Probably because you do damage to yourself.
Like,
Okay. All right. Anyway, now let's, like I said, we're flipping the script. Emmy goes out. She buys a gun at a gun show, and she shoots Landon. Now, okay. Okay, you say U.S. He's always there. Now, there actually was a. You guys probably don't know if you're. There was an author, an 90s author, named John Grisham, wrote a bunch of law, like lawyer stories, the Runaway Jury, the Client, other great movies. But the Runaway Jury was basically a film where this basically this family is trying. This guy, first thing you see in this movie is this guy who's been laid off, who's pissed off, comes in with an assault style weapon, just wipes out the office. So the families get together and they want us to gun manufacture. Yeah. And then in this thing, you see the gun companies, because literally this $1 million thing, they're trying to manipulate the jury. There's a guy in there who's also trying to manipulate, who sets himself up to get picked from the jury so he can manipulate the jury. It's a fast, actually, I'm not going to watch it. It's kind of an interesting deal. I think we might watch it now I think about it. It's a great movie. But it's definitely written from a different point of view. I have to throw that out there first. But so, anyway, back to what I was again today. Go figure in this class. Should gun manufacturers be
Yes.
You think they should? Anybody opposed?
Gun manufacturers, no. I mean, they're just making the guns that they're supposed to make.
Okay.
Unless there's something wrong with the weapon they produce, a fault that kills somebody.
You also have to think if it was at a gun show, there's more life.
Well, here, okay. Let me do this. What about ghost guns? You guys know what ghost guns are?
Yes.
Okay. Let's say, hey, let's say Max makes a ghost gun. And basically what a ghost gun is this. When you order parts for a gun, you literally can order every part of that gun online. Now, there's no serial numbers whatsoever. And here's the other thing. With the firing pin, since it was not associated with the barrel, there's no ballistic on it, which I don't believe they should. I think it should be illegal to sell barrels online. I think it is in some states, but it's not.
I'm pretty sure you can buy any part of a gun done, except for university, which has a serial number on it, and it's
They're serial numbering them now because they used to not.
only on the upper receiver.
Okay.
Well, like that's the.
All right, criminal, tell us about it.
I don't know because my dad's cousin who's right now in prison used to.
For that.
No, not for that. Used to make a religion of songs.
Well, if you want to be totally honest, I mean, if you got a 3D printer, you kind of got it. I mean, basically, you can print now. Most of what you can find, first of all, just FYI, I wouldn't just go into any of these websites because you'll get these little curious calls from the FBI.
All right.
Don't do it at school. Don't do it at school. My senior year in college, I was writing a paper, and this is when the internet was brand new. I got on Communist International, and the FBI called me, and the NSA called me at 3 o'clock in the morning.
What's the website called?
I don't know. Download Guns R Us. I don't know. I don't go to those. I don't imagine it's on the dark web, so you'd have to navigate that.
I know.
I'm
sure you can figure it out.
Yes, sir.
Where's your,
I have no idea, and I don't want to know. Because if I figure it out, then I'll probably just dumb.
How do you use it there? So go dark?
Okay, okay. It's basically, most of you are out there, okay. The internet basically started out with all the universities connected. Okay, does that make sense? Because I remember the first emails, you're going to laugh at how old I am, because basically it was a blue screen, came up and basically it looked like a dog screen. But basically you were able to connect to other universities, and then they started at the mail systems. Then you could download, it was crazy because you could download documents like one page, like Word document used to take like almost a half hour to download, but you could get it because we're still dealing in dial-up back then. But basically, it's an information highway. Now, you're usually going through providers and servers. Okay, does that make sense? You'd have to tie to a server that is not commercial. Does that make sense, Landon? You'd have to tie to a server that's hiding all these other things. Now, these people aren't out there advertising. Now, and because phone lines, communication on phone lines is highly protected, the government can't exactly just drop in there and do whatever they want. Does that make sense? So it'd be on your phone, I don't think you'd be able to manage it. You'd have to go in, put in an IP address, be able to connect to that server. Does that make sense? So I'm just snowballing this because I have no desire to get on the dark web. I don't want to be on the dark web. I don't want anybody in my class getting on the dark web. Yes.
Well, I saw a thing, in some YouTube video. It's like a good hour and a half long. It's about this. It was this like website that was on the dark web called Silk Road, and it was basically like even.
He knows more than I do.
It's like, from what I remember, it was basically like eBay was on whatever. There was no like regulation.
Oh yeah.
And so
there are drug dealers from
people who that's what the website is used for mainly. It's just selling
everyone's
drugs. And like how it worked over here is that the Navy, they have their own system or whatever, so that they could communicate to themselves like privately or whatever without people like knowing where it came from or whatever.
Right.
Which is good if you're in the Navy.
So it'd be intranet versus internet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so and then
Does that make sense, everybody?
sure. Which is good if you're
Sarah talked about it the other day when she was here. Intranet, the government has an internet that you have to have a dedicated computer to get into, and nobody else can get in.
and like if only you can allow access to other people like use
Right.
it. And
So criminals let other criminals in.
and that's pretty much how it works. Yeah. As it was its own private server that the government could like tap into and track to where
Right.
it got. Like,
Because
you can't with the normal
you deal it, literally would have to see the computer that's already logged in.
Yes. That's on the internet.
Right. Okay,
It's
so what he said.
It's a really fascinating thing. I can email it to you. Show you.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I guess on all of those, you have to be like, you're not gonna do it over a modem, you're gonna have a direct line in. Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
So, yeah. It's no different than like the power company. The power company, you can't like just hack into the power company. You can go to like their websites and stuff, but they're like what runs all of their power plants is on the intranet. So, okay, I think we lost a lot of you there on that the dark web there. All right, so what do you think, Mia? Gentlemen, what do you think about should people be able to sue gun manufacturers? Let's say somebody comes in and kills someone in your family with an assault style rifle. Should we be able to sue the gun manufacturer? And that's where I got into that was basically the plot. Basically, the guy bought the gun at a gun shop where there was no checks done, there was no nothing. And that's what they're basically suing them.
Yeah, I think so. They don't give the right type of word that they don't have to have. So,
Right, period, what she said.
or just, I'm sure she needs to be allowed to provide the right background checks. They're just so,
So there are some states that basically say, okay, they won't let you walk out with the thing like, okay, here you need to go through and do your paper like this. Okay. Just so you know, anybody guess which the least restrictive gun state is? I already told you, but you should know. Texas. What is the most restrictive state?
Maine.
No, Maine's not.
Louisiana.
I'm
sorry.
That's a murder.
This is
New York.
No.
Well, hey, New York is the most restrictive because they have the second largest city in the world there. Mexico City messes up. So, but they dealt with so much crime that they wanted to restrict how guns came into the state. So, I'm surprised it hasn't been overruled by the Supreme Court because of Heller. But basically, New York, it is illegal for anybody to conceal and carry in the city of New York. Now, in upstate New York, can you have conceal and carry? But basically, you cannot do it. And if you know the number one group behind keeping that is the police force, because they don't want to deal with like the Wild West. The people who want red flag laws, the people who want all of the gun restrictions and limits put on assault weapons are police, because the police are the ones facing them. Right, Mia? What do you agree with?
Yes, period.
Was you clicking on your phone?
yes.
She was looking at how many deaths per year.
You're trying to say, Carrie.
I just like, okay, so you just said how, New York, they want to, anyway, then they wanted to stop all the crime that was going on. So why don't they do that? Like, I thought,
Because men run the
You just changed 4 lanes without even saying one.
Okay, but nothing she said was wrong.
Right.
Mr. Hills, we wouldn't be having this much trouble, this many problems, this many arguments, these many wars. If Emma was in charge. We're not just gonna be like, oh, you hurt my feelings. We're gonna pretend I'm better than you.
Well,
and shoot you.
let me break your heart here. Hey, the politicians that take money from the ARA pretty much equal gender.
Well, you know what? That's you know what? All of our
Oh, hey.
yes.
Now, hey, please don't misconstrue what I'm saying, because I love this country. Hey, Hey, let me tell you this one first, and then I'll explain my thinking on it. Okay. Winston Churchill once said, democracy is the worst form of government except for everything else. Stop and think about it. Democracy is the worst form of government. It can get so screwed up, so corrupt, so easily, but it's better than anything else we've come up with so far. I mean, because no, that was when he was still in power. Westminster after he got voted out of power. But basically, in my mind, the only rational form of where you have good government, because with democracy, you have so many layers of bureaucracy that it can get messed up. Does that make sense? Because you may have a really good idea, but once it goes through all the different steps you've got to go through, it's going to get screwed up, watered down, right? Is if you had a very benevolent dictator. But how do you make sure you get a benevolent dictator?
Me. Thank you. Okay, let me tell you though, democracy could be so good if we had like 10 different powerful candidates.
Female judges.
People, let me tell you.
Oh, she's on her feet.
People are voting for. They're voting for.
I'm just getting out of her way. I'm getting out of her way.
They're voting for a party and not for a candidate. So you're basically like people vote on the sole fact of things like abortion or like they don't look at the overall party, they look at one thing. So if we have 10, 12 different candidates, no, not right now. Okay, I see it. Thank you.
Man, you're not allowed to.
Sure, brain tumor. I know what you're trying to say. We have all these different parties. You can be voting for someone that you connect with more than just the party. Because if I'm a Republican and I just pick on that Republican party, I'm putting someone in church that I might not even like him much because I'm so focused on being a Republican. Like if we have other parties and we spread it out, we can be voting for someone we truly think is going to better this country. Thank you. Vote for me. 2045. You have 2044. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Okay. Okay. Then I got to come back to her. But yeah, go ahead.
There were. And then they had like.
Thank you. No further questions. Not really.
Still be one person.
No, it was just that the people didn't really care for that. So it was like Democratic, Republican, and like the independent people.
Okay, that's three. That's three.
You said more than two.
All right. Okay. Just so you know, there are about 200 political parties in our country. You've only heard most likely maybe 3 or 4. Like if you've probably all heard about the Green Party. You've probably heard about the Libertarian Party.
But they're not powerful.
There's believe it or not, because of our free society, there also is the American Communist Party. There's the American Nazi Party. Yeah.
Whoopsies. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we have a Socialist Party. Yeah. We're talking socialism. These are the That was a joke, based on what you're reading.
I think we should have a presidential.
Well, okay. You know the one thing. You know the one thing that keeps multiple parties from having candidates that keeps in a 2-party system. Two words.
White people.
Electoral college.
No, because that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
No, because hey, the Constitution says, first of all, it's not that you have to get the most electoral votes. It's that you have to get a majority of the votes.
Who won with the most votes? Hillary over Trump? He had more. What presidential? Hillary had Trump.
No, Hillary had the most.
Okay.
Trump had
5 times in our country's history, a person who's won the popular vote did not become president. 5 times.
We should turn this class into a government office and we can like vote people into power. You can make it a whole project, like a final project.
Okay.
Campaign for president.
Yeah.
Well, actually, hey, I actually think the original plan for president, vice president, I actually liked because if we had the way the Constitution was written before it was amended, is whoever was president, the runner-up became vice president. And it was an unintended consequence, which I thought actually, in hindsight, would actually work because you'd have somebody who would be watching what the other one did and could be running their mouth and saying, okay, no, they're doing this, they're doing this.
But then, like, if you put Hillary Clinton and Trump in a room together, would that really work out?
I'm scared.
Well, okay. The last politician, yeah,
Because, like, there's some people that
and I'm not disagreeing with you because I'm getting so.
our candidates are so funny. They act like middle schoolers. Like when they were having their debates, presidential debates. It was like embarrassing. I was embarrassed because they acted.
The decorum that it used to be. Hey, it used to be that when I grew up, our two senators were, one was Jack Danforth, who was a Republican, and the other one was Gene McNary, who was a Democrat. And if you ask them who their enemies in the Senate were, they'd say the other 98 senators. We work together to get our state stuff. And senators have forgotten how to do that. I mean, they were best of friends, and they actually thought about running president and vice president as a combined ticket at one time. He had been an alcoholic and had been in rehab, so that wasn't going to work. Eagleton, but I applaud. There's a couple of senators that Biden was friends with who were Republicans and he was trying to work with, and I applaud all those people. But apparently, we forgot how to disagree nicely in this country.
We listened to people.
We're tribal.
What did you think? We listened to respond and not listen to understand. Like that's what we like. And it's like, are you for?
Well, everybody, okay. I had a bunch of parents who wanted to talk to me about politics during the conferences, and what I always do is I'm like, well, is there anything that such and such that you start going off on somebody and said, is there anything you can say that you like about this other person? If you can't find one thing you can agree with on somebody, chances are you're pretty tribal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, whole Trump situation.
I like that shirt.
Thank you.
Is Trump running as a rerun?
Funny you should say that. Colorado is saying under the 15th Amendment, Trump should not be allowed to. Now it's in a state court, but the Supreme Court may say that's wrong. But in case you don't know what this is, January 6th, right? Depending on what side of the argument you're on, some people called it an insurrection, right? There is the Insurrection Act, part of the 15th Amendment. And if you were part of an insurrection, you can no longer hold office in the United States. So now the trial on January 6th is not going to happen before the election comes up. But what Colorado is saying is you shouldn't be allowed to be on the ballot because you did this. If they take them off the ballot, that's one state that Biden would say, I don't have to go to, it's already mine. Because nobody's going to vote for somebody out. I mean, majority of the people are not going to vote for somebody outside of. Does that make sense?
I just don't understand how you could vote for Trump after his revival of the 60s.
Well, oh hell, okay, we went there. Trying to cut you off before you got there,
What? The grab you had to click
I just don't know how you could vote for someone.
Okay,
Well, I
just
said
say, It was in the 2016 campaign. And there was a video on the surface where the former president said, when you're famous, you can get away with anything. And he said, you can even, what she said.
That makes sense like this.
And now here's the thing. Okay, like him or hate him, and I'm not gonna judge all of this, but the people who like Trump like him because he's very straightforward. Because he not only did he not deny that, he basically said, "Yeah, I did it." Remember, if you remember, when he first started his campaign, he said, "I could go out in the middle of Times Square, shoot somebody, and I'd only become more popular." Trump said that.
So the people who are like.
Well, he's probably not going to have much of a bank account when this trial gets over. They're cleaning him out.
You literally had some.
It was,
Well, the Trump Tower's already been seized.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, he was sued in New York. Okay, you guys don't know this? Everybody look up here. You guys know about the lawsuit Trump was under in New York State? Well, he does have 92 criminal indictments out too. But basically what's happening is business, the Attorney General of the state of New York said he committed fraud to his businesses because depending on when it came tax time, he claimed that he didn't have much money, but then when it wasn't tax time, he claimed he wanted to get bank loans. He had all this money. And then he kept doing it back and forth. He kept putting it on legal documents. And by the way, this is one of the things that the mafia does. They try to hide their funds until they don't want to hide their funds. And basically, he's lost the case. They're still deciding on how badly he's going to be punished. And his two sons, I will say, did not help this case out. Okay,
How do you know about this?
he has 3 sons.
He has another daughter? Oh, I want to look up what his kids look like.
He has 3 by his first wife, 1 by his second wife, and 1 by his third wife.
Oh, his daughter made how he's Tiffany.
Going through these lives. I'm sorry.
His
He
daughter.
just-
Really pretty.
Yeah, they should.
What? No Hunter Biden? Okay, still. Okay. It's okay. It was going to be a plea agreement, and then basically the Republican prosecutors got basically campaigned. They told them they were going to primary him, so all of a sudden.
We should have a class president.
Yes.
Class vice president. We should all have. I'll take.
Hi, sunshine. Hi, sunshine. What?
All right. Just walk across the hall.
What,
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you got about your sister?
Yeah.
What happened?
She was yelling at me about people that I've seen out. Not to ask why I'm like,